Hey guys, thanks for listening to part one of episode 51, the interview I had with VØID from the Envy. I wanted to add on this little bit of bonus audio, which isn't something I normally do. But after we had kind of come to a stopping point, VØID and I kind of kept talking, and we just it became less about his band and his career, and we just started talking about what it's like to be a new dad. He and I are both relatively new fathers, and so we wanted to kind of talk about parenting a little bit, and then it kind of spun off into me talking about what I'm doing in my career and just kind of letting him know where I'm at. And I didn't really want to include that in the main episode because, again, that's more about VØID and his career, and it's not really about me. But I wanted to include this because we had got to talking, and he had really given me some really cool advice, and it just became a cool little extra 20-minute conversation that I wanted to include here for you guys, because I think that some of you might find it interesting. Some of the things I talked about in this one are sort of like what Corey and I talked about in episode 50 where he interviewed me. So but VØID presents a pretty unique perspective on it, and I think you guys are going to like it. It does, get into some music stuff, but it's also just two guys talking about what it's like to be, to be new dads and to deal with all that, and just, trading advice from one another. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'll leave links to all our social media down there, and go back and listen to the proper episode 51 if you haven't already. So thanks. Enjoy. All right. Very cool, man. I think we got enough for a podcast there.
Awesome, Jack. That's great, brother.
Cool. Hopefully Mia's doing all right. Everyone at home is doing okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. I hope that they're both sleeping upstairs, which is always a bonus. How old is your daughter?
Yeah. Well, her name is Samantha. She's about 9.5 months right now.
And what can I expect? So 9 months are a lot of things sorted out. Like a lot of the unpredictable things sorted out?
More or less. Like, she's getting better about sleeping through the night. It's not 100% great.
Mm-hmm.
But things, you start to get a little bit more used to all that stuff, I want to say.
Yeah.
There's always there's always that little sense of being nervous, okay, don't die.
Yeah, 100%, man.
And
100%.
But even through the couple months, there's been a lot of little changes, and it's you almost don't realize man, it's I can't believe how little she was a few months ago and how she is now. And
For sure.
it got to be pretty cool. I would come home from work, and she would kind of look up and start smiling at me, and it was okay, this is cool. So she knows who Dad is. I'm not just the guy who lives with Mom.
Yeah, exactly.
There's more than that.
Exactly.
And, yeah, so and it's cool. She's not walking yet. She'll be pulling herself up on stuff, and we'll have this little walker that she'll be carrying around. She'll start walking and be oh, okay, this is cool. All right, yeah. I'll see you later, Mom and Dad. And just and she just loves to check everything out. We'll be with my family and with a bunch of people, and she doesn't really freak out. She'll just kind of look at everyone and be all right. Well, if my mom and dad says he's okay, then maybe this person's
okay. Yeah,
all right.
Totally, man. That's awesome.
So, but it's cool seeing the little things like that, and thankfully, my wife is a kindergarten teacher, and she's
perfect.
Specializes in child psychology and everything. So I'm clueless. So it's I'm very lucky to have her.
It's always so funny. It's always so funny how, especially under in stressful situations, how they might feel we should know what to do when we're so goddamn clueless, because we were not playing with dolls when we were kids. I wasn't. I had zero practice. So day one, I think holding my daughter was probably the third time in my life that I held a baby, and the first time in my life that I held a baby for longer than 30 seconds. Oh, wow. So everything was from scratch, everything,
Very cool. Yeah, I was lucky enough where I do have a couple little nieces, nice. And a couple little cousins and everything. So that's definitely helped get me prepared a little bit. So
for sure.
So I wouldn't say I was totally clueless going in, but still when it's your own, it's definitely I knew it was a whole different ball game. So.
For sure.
but I mean, yeah, it's great. I mean, definitely, definitely the little things that can get you stressed, definitely outweigh. I mean, the good outweighs the
The
bad,
good, oh yeah, yeah,
100%. And
100%, dude, 100%.
I mean, if anything, the thing that causes me more stress than anything is just making sure that my wife and I are, still making time for each other
Yeah,
and just still trying to keep our relationship going because it's easy to get in parent mode and we both work. I mean, I've got a full-time job, I've got an original band, I've got a few other projects in the works.
yeah,
She works full-time as well, so that's it's just like anything else in life. You just got to find the balance of it and be able
yeah.
to organize things and prioritize and
And
make sure. Exactly.
communication. That's the tough one. It's so tough. Like, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do is from home when I'm like not in another studio or something. Like I'm doing,
Sure.
especially right now in the first few months, I'm home quite a bit, and it's definitely tough. Trying to find, like, it's maybe not even necessarily a balance, but it's like a groove. Like, find some kind of groove, at least that will last a couple of days, and then
Yeah.
you kind of have to like change tempo a little bit or change the groove a little bit.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely for anybody who's not experienced it, like, it's so different than what you expect. Like, you just can't. I don't know what kind of sleeper you are, like, but luckily, like, I'm very grateful. I don't need that much sleep,
Hmm.
and I can function pretty well. But dude, like, nobody understands what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean. I'm definitely like the kind of person to just sleep in when I can,
Yeah, yeah,
or I mean whenever I get the chance to, I usually do. But
totally.
it's like anything else. You just adapt to it, and you
Yeah,
get used
man.
to it, and just you do whatever you have to do,
You're
and
literally teaching this human being how to do every single thing. Like,
pretty
and I
much.
think it's very easy to forget that. Like, you're literally, they come like with a blank canvas. They don't know how to sleep. They don't even know what sleep
No.
is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's
It's
crazy.
but I mean, the good thing is that like a lot of people have ideas and be like, this is how you should do it, and at the end of the day, it's like it's you knowing it's like, oh wait, this is my kid,
Yeah,
so you know it, you know
totally. Everyone has an
you
opinion.
yeah, you just got to do what you know in your heart is right,
Totally.
and that even comes down to the extracurriculars as well. Like
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm turning 34 this week, and I think you and I are probably around the same age, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah, totally.
so I get people like sometimes even like family members being like, "Hey, are you still doing the band thing?" Which is almost one of two things. Either they think it's cool, or maybe like secretly, even though they won't say it. And at least this is my
It's
perception
a
of
bit of
it.
like a condescending question, a bit like
It's
in the
like,
way that
oh,
it's phrased,
are you
like the
still doing the
band
band
thing,
thing?
the
Do you
band
still play?
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's like you don't know what they mean by that. And it
yeah,
always
yeah,
just messes with my mind constantly. And
yeah,
it's like,
totally.
and my whole thing is this, like, yeah, I mean, I have a wife and a kid, and I have a career, outside of music. It's how I pay my bills. But it's, to me, that's not enough reason to stop. You
Dude,
know,
not even close. Yo,
no,
you have, like, yes, you're part of that, but it's your life. I mean, your dreams, and like, it's very, very important, for overall happiness that you're able to, number one, have that outlet as well, like, no matter what it is. Even if you
for
played in
sure.
just like, if you played in a small cover band, it doesn't matter, like, as long as you have that outlet. But if it's something that where you're pursuing, where it's original work and like, you're quote unquote trying to make it, just like, the key to success is not quitting first
Yeah,
and foremost.
absolutely,
But yeah, you need to have that, because for you to be at your best, for you to be a rock star at home, you need to be able to flex your rock star muscles with your own personal project. Like, you have to have that.
for sure.
It's
I mean, if
very
I
important.
didn't have stuff like that to do, I'd probably be a pretty miserable guy at home.
Totally,
So thankfully,
totally.
my wife understands that, and as long as I'm making sure that they're number one, it kind of works itself out. And yeah, and I'm still going for it. I'm still making original music with my band Vertebraker, and I don't know if we're ever going to get the opportunity to do those big tours like you guys did, but I mean, even if we're just making a little bit of noise here in Orlando, that's still a pretty big market. It's
Yeah, dude, the best possible thing is just, no matter what, it doesn't matter what you're selling, building a tribe and nurturing that tribe. That's it. Like, know what your tribe wants and give it to them. And when you deliver that to them, they will be loyal. That's it. You know, Envy fans told us so many times, I went to this concert to see this band and I ended up liking your set better. Or even the bands that we opened for, because we were maybe first slot, and then the co-headliners, one tour, it was like it wasn't the co-headliners, it was like the second opening slot. We swapped. They didn't want to follow us. They wanted us to go after them. And like they were fans of us as well. So like, we knew what people wanted and we liked that, so we just kept giving that to them. And I don't know what would have happened. We should have had more do-it-yourself mentality. But you know, whatever. Like that happened, and now all this stuff happened. If I didn't, basically, like if my dad didn't get sick, then I would have never met my wife. I mean, like this wouldn't have happened, right? I like we wouldn't have a beautiful girl. Like, these things don't happen, so like they wouldn't have happened. So yeah, so what? We had this like epic experience. It doesn't mean that like that's never gonna happen again. Already back in the game, and like you know, me and Sean are cranking out some music. I don't know what's gonna happen, but what I can tell you is that like the killers would be if you ever let age measure your dreams and dictate your dreams. And if you are veering towards quitting, like these are the things, these thoughts are toxic. And like, you know, we're probably both like, you know, early 30s going, or like really feeling like 12 inside, you know, like I'm not an adult. I'm an adult in theory. Like what?
Exactly, man.
You know what I mean? So anyway, like, dude, never give up, but understand your market. Understand that the music you're making is for somebody. Yes, it's for you, but understand it's for somebody, and they feel something when they hear your music. And go with the things that, you know, just like with your podcast, you're gonna have fans, and go with what people want, and keep your ears open to know what they want. And dude, just like nurture. They'll spread the word, dude. Be the biggest band in Orlando. Like, I mean, that's a really good measurable goal at first, to like sell out the biggest place if you haven't already, like, or sell out like one of the venues if you haven't already. Like, start with that and just keep one-upping it and go off the back of that with other
like we've had friends of ours who have played like the House of Blues down here, because they'll have like occasionally they'll have local bands there. So it's like, okay, well, like our main goal is to like get booked there. That's a step. Like that's something that is attainable. That we
measurable.
We can do it. So and you know, just then it's like to get, you know, noticed by the press and stuff like that. And you know, thankfully we've been noticed by some of the radio down here, and they've been playing us on like Sunday nights. They'll have local bands on, and one of the guys at the radio station who I'm good friends with, he's one of the DJs there, and he actually managed to get us booked to open for Steel Panther last November.
Awesome. And actually, it's funny that you mentioned Steel Panther, because Steel Panther, that was, Gene was like talking to Universal Republic when Steel Panther was starting to make some waves. Gene was like really involved with that there. I never met those guys, but yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's very, very cool. And you just keep leveling up.
For sure, man. They could not have been nicer either. Really good dudes, and you know, like Russ Satchel, you know, like he played it with Rob Halford in the band Fight back in the 90s, and Ralph, you know, Michael Starr, he's been around for years. So those guys, I mean, yeah, they're a goofy band, but those, when it comes to musicianship, they're the real deal.
Totally. It's yeah, man. It's, dude, just like seriously, keep everything's just leveling up, and using what you've achieved to leverage that to like get to whatever the next step is. But yeah, man, labels are only going to take notice when you have fans, and all you want is fans. You don't even need labels anymore, man. They're if anything, they get in the way. So you have direct access to the fans, direct. And even back then, the Envy did, and we were just we're dumb about how we like went about it. But yeah, just direct access to the fans and nurture that, build the snowball like that. And yeah, man, and that those are the that's the focus, at least in my opinion, what I recommend. Also, after studying marketing for 4 years, and chatting with Gene, that's where my head's at is, if I was going to do that, this is how I would do it.
Yeah, I mean, talk about having the right mentor for that. You
Totally.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
what more can you say? Yeah, I mean, that's the trickiest thing right now, at least, is to just like kind of build that fan base organically, especially like when we all have full-time jobs and families and kids and stuff. It's like, we can't necessarily go out to the bars every night or the clubs, but we just try to do what we can and just be cool with people and make friends and just try to do what we can via social media. And it's tough because it's like, especially at this age, like, not as many people are going out to shows anymore. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's I want to say it's a little more challenging at this point
totally.
in the game, but it's not impossible.
No, for sure. By the way, use the platforms that are available as well in the sense that, remember, so there's those dads and there are those, I don't know exactly what your demographic is, but let's just say, a bunch of people who are, in a similar boat where they're, new dads and they don't have a band to play in. They just love music. And when they get home, like maybe there's no excitement in their life, but they love your band. And they go onto Facebook looking for something exciting. And dude, don't underestimate what's exciting. You being at band practice and you turning on Facebook Live and saying like giving them a behind the
Oh yeah,
scenes,
oh yeah.
right? Like all those things are so important. So like all that stuff, you don't need to play shows all the time or like there's always a way to get interest. It's just focus on your customers, focus on your fans, and you'll win for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And me and the guys in the band, we talk about that all the time. We're like our guitar player is like sort of building his own little home studio setup, so we're like focusing on writing, recording, getting more content out there, and then
Perfect.
building from there. So yeah, no, I mean it's really good stuff. Dude, this is a great conversation. I feel like we could be talking for hours
I
about
know,
this.
I know, I know. We're gonna have to wrap up over here because yeah, there's just like so many different things going on,
For
so many
sure.
fires we put out. But dude, it was so great chatting with you and
Yeah, man.
remembering some of the things. Like I haven't talked about some of that stuff for a while, so it was very cool chatting about it.
For sure, man. And my wife and I actually went up to Toronto a few years ago. We took a little vacation up to Niagara Falls, and so
Oh
we
yeah, yeah,
went into the
awesome,
city and just we had a great time. It was really cool, and I'd been there
awesome,
once when I
dude,
was a kid as well. I always really enjoyed the city, and we
awesome,
had
dude.
dinner up in the CN Tower, the rotating thing. It was great.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's epic for sure up there. Some people hate it because like it's a bit nauseating, but yeah, epic. By the way, when the podcast is ready to go, just let me know and I'll share it on my
Yes,
pages
of
and stuff
course.
like that. Yeah,
It might be a week or two because I have a
yeah,
few
yeah, yeah,
others that I
yeah.
need to get out, but
Totally, totally, dude. No
But
rush,
yeah,
but
yeah, it's in fact I'd love to send you some other episodes I've done with guys who kind of like yourself have some real industry experience. I don't know if you're familiar
for
with the
sure.
band Black Tide.
Black. It sounds familiar. I
They
don't
they
know.
were around in like I mean their first record was out in '08. They were like really young at the time. They were from Miami, Florida. And
Oh, cool.
at the time they were like 14 to 17 or whatever, and they ended up touring all around the world. And like their bass player is now in a band called Falling in Reverse,
Cool.
and their drummer kind of did what Sean did, end up going into the EDM world. So like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have talks with both those guys. There was another guy by the name of James Hart who was in a band called 18 Visions. That band kind of came up alongside with Avenged Sevenfold, from out in California, and he went on to have another band called Burn Halo, and so I had him on twice, and it was really cool just hearing all the stuff that he's done, and
Awesome.
and like even guys from like a band called Stereo Mud, who I listened to when I was in high school, they certainly
Yeah,
had some
yeah.
regional experience, but it's like being able to talk to guys who I've been fans of,
Dude,
and now end up
huge.
via this podcast struck up friendships with them. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
a good
sick.
thing, and it's a great platform to promote the band and everything else I have going on. So stuff like that
Totally.
just continues to spin stuff, and
Yeah, dude, keep it going too because like it'll just like you said, it'll continue to spin stuff. Like that's the part as an entrepreneur, whether it's a band or whether it's a podcast, like just keep it going, make the like have whatever workflow it takes to like to get it to build momentum, like to keep it going, like whether it's every week or whatever it might be, and just like don't let it die out, like don't let the flame like fizzle. And it's like as long as you keep doing that, dude, like it's just like bit by bit it starts growing, and treat your people really well, and you're a great guy. So it's like as long as you just keep that going, it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. Most people just quit. That's the thing. Most people just quit too early. They're right before maybe the gold, right? Who knows who would be listening? You know?
I mean, when it comes to stuff like that, I've got like a web series in development. I've got a few cover bands I'm trying to get going, and because I enjoy doing that. Like I've been talking about like a Linkin Park tribute band, possibly an Alice in Chains thing, and those are pretty lucrative. So, it's nice to have an extra source of income coming in. So I might as well do it doing something I love.
Of course. So, for sure, man.
Steve, I hate to keep you on too much longer. I know I got to work tomorrow, but this has been great.
It's all good. For sure, man. For sure, buddy.
Have a great night.
You too, man. All right, Jack. Take care, brother. Okay, bye-bye.